Good morning, staffers. Today we're going to talk about a very sticky topic, and that is how to get moving forward when you have IRS back payroll taxes. How to get moving forward and unstuck so that you can have an incredible 2020. Here we go. Good morning, staffers. Today we're going to talk about an incredibly sticky and for some of us a very embarrassing situation, and that is what to do when you have IRS back payroll taxes. But before we begin, I don't want you to miss a beat. Go ahead and click that button, subscribe now, so that you can catch all of our videos that we're going to put out in 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, staffers. Today we're going to have a very serious conversation about what happens if you find yourself in a situation where you have back IRS payroll taxes and what you can do today to get unstuck, to get moving forward and be able to enjoy some of your 2020 from this. And there are 6 steps. There are 6 steps that you need to do to get unstuck. And that first step is 1, understand the consequences. As an employer, you have a fiduciary responsibility that when you pay an employee that you are required by law to withhold taxes. And those taxes are for federal taxes, Social Security and Medicare. You have a responsibility to withhold those taxes, but not just withhold them, but to remit them to the IRS. And when you fail to withhold that, not only does the company have a fiduciary responsibility, the person who's responsible for remitting those taxes, they have a personal obligation also. And what that means is that if you fail to remit payroll taxes as a employer and as a person that's responsible for remitting those taxes, you are now susceptible to being hit with something called the trust fund penalty. And that trust fund penalty is equal to the federal taxes, Social Security, Medicare taxes that was withheld from that employee's paycheck that was not remitted to the IRS. And so the consequences are very serious for not remitting payroll taxes. So you definitely want to make sure that you remit those and make sure they're remitted. And if you're in a position where you're responsible for remitting and the company is not putting them in, then I would say leave that company. The next thing you want to do is not ignore the letters. Do not ignore those letters. Those letters are not empty threats. They are very serious. And what the IRS is telling you about liens and levies, they will seriously do that if you disregard those letters. And so do not ignore those letters. When you get those letters, if you have the ability to pay, call the IRS. Make a payment arrangement if you have the ability to do that. And if it's a large amount, get help. But whatever you do, do not ignore those letters because those threats are very true. The other thing is you want to act timely. There are due dates in those letters. So if the letter says pay and you have the ability to pay. You will also get letters at some point if you continue to not pay requesting, do you want to have a CDP hearing? Even if you're working with an IRS agent, even if they're the nicest person in the world, things can go south in those negotiations. And if you have the opportunity to file for appeal and file for a CDP hearing, you don't want to lose that opportunity. You want to make sure you apply for that appeal because if things are not able to get resolved at the agent level, you're going to have another set of ears that's going to be able to listen to you so that you can get an adequate resolution. The other thing that you want to do is commit to change. Now, some of you are thinking like, you don't understand my debt. It is huge. And I understand, I get that it's huge. And if you don't have the ability to pay now, pay the current taxes, right? Pay the current taxes and then pay the future taxes after that. Well, you can always get tax resolution from the back taxes, but if you do not stay current, you will lose the opportunity to get resolution. And if you do enter into a resolution agreement for an installment plan or offer in compromise, you will lose that if you do not stay current. So the first thing to do is stay current. Stay current on your taxes. If you have unfiled returns, make sure you file that to get the statute of limitations started. The IRS will not enter any type of resolution with you until you file those taxes. So definitely commit to change and start taking action to get current and file any returns that have not been filed. Also, keep your head up. This is not the end of the world. This is not the end of the world. Even though it's a hard situation, it is not the end of the world, and you can completely get out of this. You just have to take the first step. Lift your head and take the first step. There are so many ways that you can resolve this. You can do a payment plan. You can do a partial payment plan. You can do an offer and compromise. There are so many ways to resolve this. This does not have to be the end of the world or even the end of your business. You can get through this. You just got to make that first step. And finally, the last step, step 6, is if you are in trouble and you're unable to resolve this on your own, get help. Get help. Call your CPA, call your attorney, call me. We operate in all 50 states and we deal with this and we help taxpayers get resolution and get moving on with their businesses. So do not put your head in the sand. This is resolvable. You can move forward beyond this. This is not the end of the world. And you can put this behind you if you just make the first step. So staffer, I hope that today this was very helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode.